Where should you put your money to get the best possible rates? Now, I will come back shortly to those top paying accounts, whether it's cash ISAs, easy access accounts, fixed accounts, regular savers, you name it. As ever, I'll give you the top paying ones. But before that, I want to talk you through a couple of different things that have been going on, some changes to some products, but also something which, particularly this first thing I'm going to talk about now, which I think is really cheeky. And what we're seeing more and more this year is the advent of a short-term bonus to boost that headline rate, which pushes these providers to the top of the Best Buy tables. At least if you're going purely by rate, they're there at the top because you can't beat them. But when you go under the hood a little bit and look at what you're actually getting once these bonuses end, it might not be as attractive. Now, obviously, this is nothing new. Providers have been giving bonuses for years and years and years and decades and decades and decades for this very reason. But normally these bonuses have been 12 months. And you think, well, if you're getting bonus for a year, yes, the underlying rate might change. It'd be variable. It might change. But for a year, hopefully it'll remain competitive at or around where you kind of signed up for it. And you can think, right, for a year, that's good, sorted. Maybe I'll come back in a year and look at what other options I might have when that bonus ends, which is whether you've got a bonus or not, it's a good thing to be doing, isn't it? Checking you're getting the best possible rate. What we're seeing now, though, are really short-term ones. First of all, they started going down to 6 months. But now more of them, particularly those ones all at the top, are offering a 3-month bonus. So it looks amazing, but actually, are you really getting anything better than ones without a bonus? So I've had a quick look at some of those top rates. Now, a few caveats here. One, when I did these calculations at lunchtime today, there have already been some changes since then to actual rates. So take what I'm taking you through now, just more illustrative. I'll take you through the actual proper top rates later on. The other thing is, obviously, I mentioned this is variable, so the rates also can change. So when I'm talking about having money in there for a year as an example, this is just illustrative, okay? So what have we got? The top paying cash ISA right now is Trading 212, offering 5.38%. Now, this is made up of a base rate of underlying rate of 4.5% and that 3-month bonus of 0.88%. Now, when you calculate that, if you had £1,000 in that account for a year and the rates didn't change, obviously a variable, so it could change, might not change, you get £47.20 interest over 12 months, which actually gives an effective rate of 4.72. So it's actually not too bad. Obviously a big difference to 5.38, but when you look at other things available, 4.72 isn't too bad. If you go down now to the chip ISA, now I told you things have changed. It was 4.37% a few hours ago. Now it's 4.38%. They've just nudged that bonus up a little bit. But broadly speaking, the principle is the same because this one has an underlying bonus of 1.05% on 4.32. Over a year, that means you get an effective real rate of 4.58%. So although that headline rate, 5.37 at the time I did this, was very, very similar to what Trading 212 would get, you'd actually be getting, again, on £1,000, about £1.50 less over a year, which is not a huge amount. But obviously, if you ramp that up to the full £20,000 you could have in an ISA, then it's coming in about 28 quid. Not a massive difference, but it's still just showing you there is, rates seem the same, but underlying it's not. Then we go down to Plum. They're offering 5.36%, but the bonus there is massive. It's 1.82%. And that actually means the effective rate over 12 months will be 4%. So although initially you think, well, these all look the same, I'll go for a fancy doing Plum over the others for whatever reason, but that would be a much, much bigger difference. Again, on that full £20,000 in an ISA over 12 months, if the underlying rate didn't change, you'd actually be getting about £145 less in interest. So it does make a big, big, big difference. But let's compare it to the first account, which doesn't have any bonuses. Well, the highest one out there is just a flat rate, and this is from Tembo. This is 4.8%. So you get, again, it's variable, so it could change, but assuming it stayed the same, as we've assumed with those other ones, for 12 months, well, you'd get 4.8%. So actually, in this example, it's better than all the other ones with a much, much higher rate. It isn't just ISAs that are doing this. I'll just give you one quick example here of a non-ISA cash, for example, for new customers. And I should say, actually, these bonuses, generally speaking, are for new customers. So if you've already got an account with them or had one before, you'll get that underlying rate, that lower underlying rate anyway. But if you're a new Chase customer to their current account, open up their savings account, you'll get 4.75% for 6 months. After 6 months, it drops down to 3%. And that will actually, because it's a tracker rate, we know 100% if the base rate changes, that will fall even more. But that real terms then, over 12 months, that 4.75% is actually 3.88%. And there are a number of different savings accounts out there, non-ISA savings accounts, where you can easily get well above 4%. I'll take you through some of those top ones later on. So it's very, 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 very cheeky, isn't it? I guess, what could you do about it? Well, my sort of advice here, my guidance here, is just to check. If you see a bonus and it looks attractive, just check what that underlying rate is. You don't necessarily have to do the maths and figure all out exactly what it's going to be over, a longer period, because again, these things are variables, so they will change anyway. But just give you an idea of, do you want to get a bonus, a particularly large bonus, for a short amount of time? 12-month bonuses, I think they're certainly worth a look, and then you can sort of revisit it in 12 months' time. But these 3-month ones, really try and have a look at what the underlying rate is. If the underlying rate is still competitive, so in the example of trading 212, 4.5% is I still think pretty competitive, right? It's still a good one to be looking at. If that little perch to give you that for the 3 months, that bit of a bonus, it's worth maybe considering. But otherwise, be really, really, really careful with those. So that's the first thing on ISAs. The second thing is around the spring statement. Now, there were lots of rumours. We've covered it before. Rumours coming up to the spring statement that the government will be announcing some big changes to the cash ISA limits, how much you can actually save into a cash ISA, that allowance. Now, we said at the time, don't think this will happen right now. If they are going to do anything, it'll be later in the year for next financial year. And that is actually what has happened. There was nothing announced in the speech in the Commons by the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, about cutting the cash ISA allowance. The rumour beforehand, the strong rumour was cutting it from 20,000 to 4,000. However, what was buried in the documents, you had to search for individual savings accounts in the documents to find this one little paragraph. There was something in there. And this said that the government is looking at options for reforms to individual savings accounts that get the balance right between cash and equities to earn better returns for savers, boost the culture of retail investment, and support the growth mission. Alongside this, the government is working closely with the Financial Conduct Authority to deliver a system of targeted support to give people the confidence to invest. So there we go. In the official government, it's not just rumours anymore. They are looking to do something which could well encourage people to invest rather than save in ISAs. And encouraging might just be, we'd like you to do this and here's how to do it, and make you be more confident to do it. Or it might be slightly more forced. They might say, well, look, you can only have this much in cash. If you've got more money that you want to have in a tax-free package, then you're going to have to invest it. But this is all it says right now. We still don't know exactly how that could look, and there's going to be consultation on this. I would imagine we'll hear something in the budget, which will likely be in October, and then any implementation of it wouldn't be until the next financial year, so April 2026. That's what I said last time. I still think that's going to be the case, but there could well be changes coming along. And that kind of leads me on to the next thing, just talk about ISAs. I will give you the best buys in a moment, but don't forget the deadline for adding money to ISAs this year is Saturday, the 5th of April. So you've only got a few days left to put your money into an ISA. Now, whether you want to invest, whether you want to save, if you haven't done it yet and you haven't used all of your £20,000 allowance and you've got some money that can go into an ISA, I appreciate for most of us that £20,000 is not something we can achieve anyway. Even if you don't know what you want to put it in, if you think, I'm not sure if I want to invest right now because all the problems with the market sort of tumbling, I don't know if I really want to put it in a fixed ISA or an easy access ISA, just put it in an ISA. Put it in an easy access ISA with anyone, because at least it's in there. And then you can think about changing it at any point via a transfer to a highest paying rate cash ISA or a fixed or into a stocks and shares ISA, whatever it might be. Just have it in there, in that protection, that wrapper. So you've got it there. And when the new year starts, if you've got the money straight away, then great, whack it all into an ISA now. But again, I think you're safe for 12 months. I think you've got all of that financial year to build as much as you can into there. But if the allowances do change, and I think this, again, only would be around the cash thing. I don't think they'll be changing in the investing ones. There are ways to have safe investments which will work equivalent to cash anyway. Still not too much to worry about, but just to protect yourself, putting your money in there just gives you that buffer going forward for the future. But this is a problem for people with lots of money in savings. For most of us, we don't have a huge amount put aside that's going to even be causing that kind of problem. But if you can move money across from elsewhere into there and other accounts, it might be worth doing it. Now, a couple of quick things to share with you. Very quickly, the NatWest and RBS regular saver, the digital regular saver, really good account here, 6.17%. What I like about this one is, unlike other regular savers, which close after 12 months in the most part, this one keeps going until you get to a balance of $5,000. So this could be going you a decent amount, 6.17%. Obviously, it's variable, could change, but earning you a decent amount of money year after year after year after year, which is great. But it can take you a long time to get to that $5,000 because the most you can put in is 150 quid. Well, there have been some changes to some additional ways you can put some extra cash in there. When I talk about small amounts, but if you are keen to get as much money in there as possible, it's worth looking at. One of these is the roundup feature on the debit card with NatWest or RBS, both banks if you want. You can do two of these, one with each account. When you spend with your debit card, you can set up roundups. It used to be normal roundup or double roundup. So let's say you spent £1.80, you had this set up, 20p would move from your current account into that regular saver, and it wouldn't count towards that £150 maximum cap every month. This would be in addition. So if you did a lot of spending there, that could mount up, or you could double it. Well, they've now changed it so you can not only double it, but you can do it 3 times, 4 times, or even 5 times. So if you did spend £1.80 and had 20 pence spare, then suddenly £1 is going into that. And if you do a lot of spending again, that could really quickly add up and help you get more money in there. Now, be careful here if you want to hack it. I know some people have spoken about this before. The idea that you put £1 and 1 pence credit on an Amazon account, or one of the other kind of fudges I've told you about before, which count as debit card spending, putting it into a savings account, for example, and do this loads and loads and loads and loads of times. So you're getting, 5 times, it'd be £4.95 being added on to your account. And if you did that, 10 times, that's nearly 50 quid and so on. So you could get very quickly, if you did this a lot, up to that £5,000 limit. Be really careful of this, because that would be against the terms, conditions, and seen as abuse. So potentially could close down your account. So I certainly wouldn't encourage you to be doing that. The other thing that looks like it's new, I don't think it's been there before and I've missed it, I'm pretty sure it's new, is if you have one of the reward current accounts with NatWest or RBS, every month, as long as you meet the conditions that are required, you get a £5 reward. Effectively, it's going to cost you £2 to do it, so it's £3 profit. But that reward can now be transferred into your digital regular saver. So again, that's an extra £5 potentially you could be putting into that account on top of that 150. So it's worth knowing about that. Okay, and one last quick one before we get onto those best buys, those top paying accounts for this month, is around the Santander Edge Saver. This is paying 6% on up to £4,000 as long as you have the Santander Edge current account. The Santander Edge current account has a £3 monthly fee. Now, if you are paying your bills out of that account, your core bills, then you'll get cash back on those bills, and that should more than cover the fee. Or if you never set direct debits up in that account in the first place, then the fee doesn't get added on. And anyway, so broadly speaking, if you're doing that, covering the fee or not paying the fee, you're getting 6%, which is great, right? Really, really hard to beat that. What has changed for new customers is that used to be 4.5% plus a 1.5% bonus for 12 months. So after a year, it dropped to 4.5%. Now, after a year, it will drop to 4%. That's already changed for new customers. If you're an existing customer, then that will change in June. However, you're still getting that headline rate of 6%. Some of you might still be on 7% because that only changed last August from 7 to 6. But broadly speaking, after 12 months, when it drops down, you should be looking to see if there's a better rate out there anyway. Comparing it, where it's 4.5% or 4%, my money is on you finding a better rate elsewhere. So I wouldn't actually worry about this too much. It's happening. I'm glad it's happening to the bonus, not the overall rate. And in fact, there is a way around this as well, where if you want to keep your money earning that high rate, when you reach 12 months, you can close the account down. Transfer that money into your current account. That's really easy to do. I've literally just done this via the sort of AI robo chat in my app. Now, it's taking 5 working days, so I'm 1 or 2 days away from that actually happening, which is a bit slow and a bit frustrating. But once that's done, I should be able to open up a new one and get 6% again for another 12 months. I know loads of you have done that on our Facebook communities. It's the first time I've come around to actually doing it myself. I can't see there being a problem with it. If there is an issue, I'll give you an update next month. But all round, yes, it's changed, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. I still certainly would be looking at going for it. Okay, let's get on to those top paying accounts for April 2025. These will change. As I said, they're always going to, particularly right now when it comes to ISAs, because of that kind of competition to try and get your money right now, right at the top. So head over to becleverwithyourcash.com/savings. That's where myself and the team, twice a day, if not more, are updating those top 5 or 6 providers for all those different account types. So you will know not just if anything has changed since I've told you about it right now, but maybe you want to see more options. Some of these I'm only giving you 2 or 3, if not 1 option at those different sort of levels, so you can see alternative ones there. So if something's not mentioned right now, then you might find it mentioned over at becleverwithyourcash.com/savings. Also want to say, because there is the end of the financial year just a few days away and the start of the new one, I will do another ISA update next week. So you're going to have another sort of hit at the accounts for the new financial year if you've got new money to put aside. Let's start off then with my top pick. And once again, it is that Santander Edge Saver, 6% for a year on £4,000 is very, very hard to beat. Now, if you need more than that, a larger balance, you've got more money you want to put aside, or you want to take advantage of that ISA allowance, then there are some of those top picks that we mentioned before. Right there at the top, Trading 212, 5.38%, including a 0.88% bonus for 3 months. Working out slightly less effective rate than the next one, Tembo, paying 4.8%. I'll be happy going for either of those two. And then we also have Money Farm. This is 4.76% for their cash ISA. That includes a bonus as well, but for 12 months. So again, I think you're going to get a decent rate there for a year if you just want to get it and leave it. Obviously, there are more of those, as I mentioned, the likes of Moneybox and Chip, also at 5.38%. Plum not too far behind. If you want to see them over at becleverwithyourcash.com/ISAs for our ISA tables. Okay, let's move on to full easy access now. These are a little bit lower than the ISA rates. Monument 4.75%, but it is a huge £25,000 minimum deposit there. Atom also 4.75%, and if you don't think you're going to need to access your money very often, that's okay. But if you do take money out, it drops down to 3% every month you take a withdrawal. And then we go down to the kind of a more simple one, more accessible, 4.64% from Kent Reliance. As you can see, they're all going to give you a much, much better rate than that Chase boosted rate that I shared earlier on. There is also a decent notice account to share with you if you can put your money away for 3 months, give yourself 95 days notice. Oak North via Prosper, which is like a third-party marketplace, are giving 5%. That does include a bonus. But again, that's a nice strong rate. It is variable, so it could change. But yeah, if you don't know you don't need your money, you can give 3 months notice. That's worth a look. There's also still worth talking about Trading 212's uninvested cash interest rate of 4.6%. Again, you don't have the limits there. All relatively safe as well, but it doesn't have the full FSCS protection. Okay, let's move on to fixed rate accounts now. Good if you want to lock your money away. The focus here probably for many of you will be ISAs with the end of the financial year, although not necessarily the top paying rates. We've got 12 months with Shawbrook at 4.52%, 2 years at United Trust Bank, 4.45%, 3 years with Close Brothers, 4.43%, 4 years with United Trust Bank, 4.2%, and then 5 years with Shawbrook at 4.32. They are the top paying ISAs right now. Non-ISAs, a lot of this, you can see a couple of names here which are repeated again and again, mainly Gatehouse and Al Rayyan via Raisin, but a couple of others in there as well. So Gatehouse via Raisin for 3 months, 4.62. Al Rayyan via Raisin, 4.65%. That's for 6 month fix. A 9 month fix is United Trust Bank, 4.57. We move on to a year. We've got Al Rayyan via Raisin, 4.7%. And then for 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and 5 years, it's all Gatehouse via Raisin, all at 4.65%. So I don't know how long those rates will be around for, but if you're happy to put your money away for a decent amount of time, they are certainly worth a look. Very quickly, let's also look at your lifetime ISAs. I will do a more detailed look at lifetime ISAs in the next week or so. Top one here, cash ISA from lifetime ISA is Moneybox, 4.7%. And if we look at regular savers, we're a big fan of these. The top paying one, I probably wouldn't go for. It's Principality Building Society at 7.5%, but it's only for 6 months. So you're not really going to have as much time there to compound the interest. The best ones, still available. First Direct Regular Saver is fixed for 7%. Cooperative Bank, variable at 7%. Then we've got Nationwide, 6.5%. With their Flex Regular Saver, and then Club Lloyd's at 6.25%. That one is fixed. So if you're only going for a couple of them, I'd probably go for First Direct or Club Lloyd's simply because they are locked in for 12 months. And if we do see more base rate changes during this year, you'll be sure to see some of these drop a little bit. At least I would imagine they would. But there you go. That is April 2025's savings update. Remember, becleverwithyourcash.com/savings and becleverwithyourcash.com/ISAs for all the best paying accounts right now and any changes and updates over the next month. My name's Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching this. Check out these videos here for more ways to make the most of your money.